But my colleague Avan Dibash caught up with Rajan Anandan, MD at Peak XV Partners in Surge, and he shares with us his views on the entire startup ecosystem, adds that companies like Paytm, Zomato are great firms with tremendous brand value.
I think the important thing about the Indian startup ecosystem, right? Our entrepreneurs have a very, very unique opportunity. One, they can innovate for India. And today what we are seeing is, sort of a Cambrian explosion of innovation across many sectors, right? Whether it's new consumer brands. We have such a large number of very exciting consumer brands, whether it's in beauty and personal care, whether it's in food, whether it's in home appliances, whether it's in fashion, right?
If I may then, what is that single biggest theme, Rajan?
The single biggest theme for the year, not just in India, but globally, is AI, right? So we do think we've had sort of zeitgeist moment in AI. I think the launch of OpenAI's launch of ChatGPT has really, I think, made sort of AI mainstream, top of mind, really become the zeitgeist today. And what we're seeing is, a new generation of companies that are being built. Actually, what's very interesting is if you look at Surge, which is, Peak 15 partners, right? We rebranded our firm to Peak 15 Partners last week. Surge is our seed stage platform. And if you look at Surge, actually, we have close to 20 AI companies that we funded over the last 3 years, right? So we were investing in AI companies before sort of AI became the zeitgeist of the world, if you will. But AI really is going to be, if you ask me, one theme that's not just in India, but globally, that a lot of investors and founders are focusing on today, it would be AI.
No, absolutely. I get that point. So AI is going to be the next big theme. But what about the kind of dry powder as well that's available? What do you think startups and companies really need to do? What is absolutely necessary in order to attract some of that dry powder from venture capitals?
Yeah, so look, basically, there is a lot of dry powder. Just to give you a context, right? Our firm, Peak 15 Partners, we have 20,000 crores of dry powder, right? Only for India. India and Southeast Asia. We invest across India and Southeast Asia. So just one firm, we have 20,000 crores of dry powder, right? Now, in terms of what it takes, look, at seed stage, right? If you're just starting up, what you want to make sure is that you've got a terrific founding team and you're going after a large opportunity and you have very unique insights of how you're going to capitalize on those opportunities, right? 50% of the companies that we invest at Surge, which is our seed stage platform, are pre-launch. Not a single line of code is written, right? So we're essentially betting on terrific teams who are going to large markets and who have very, very deep insight. So that's at seed stage. Today, if you want to raise a Series A, so seed stage could be you're trying to raise $1 million, $2 million, maybe $3 million, right? It could be $500,000. So let's call that seed stage. Series A, now let's say Series A, you're trying to raise between 5 to 7, maybe $8 million today. That's what a normal Series A round is today. To raise a Series A today, you do need to have product market fit, or at least, reasonably strong signs of product market fit, right? That means you built a product that customers really love, they continue to use it. If it's a consumer product, your retention is high. If it's a business, let's say you're a B2B sort of SaaS company, your renewal rates are high, and so on and so forth, right?
You have gone on record as well to say that some of the companies that you guys have backed previously are in the consumer space and that they could see exponential profitability in the coming years. What's driving this optimism?
Yeah, so I think it's important that if you look at Surge, right? Surge was launched a little over 4 years ago. We have 140 companies today. If you look at our last 4 cohorts, 50%, 40 to 55% of our companies are software companies from India or Southeast Asia building for the world, right? So if you look at our last cohort, we had 12 companies. We had 3 AI companies, right? 2 from India and one from Southeast Asia, but building for the world, right? So 50% of our companies now are, and it pretty much reflects what's happening in the country, right? As I said, 40% of all seed funded companies in 2022 were building for the world from day zero. So I think that's part one. I think the part two, as you said, is sort of domestic-centric opportunities. And clearly there is a consumer-centric opportunity that is very, very exciting, right? So on the one hand, you've got consumer products. Here is an interesting statistic I'll give you, okay? And I got this from Anand, who's the founder of Mensa, Anand Narayanan. If you look at beauty and personal care, home, and fashion put together, That market in India today is $120 billion. So call it 10 lakh crore. Okay, you're looking at a 10 lakh crore consumption market on just these three categories, okay? There are only 30 brands in India, 30 brands, and I'm talking about not just digital first brands, 30 brands, offline, most of them are offline first brands. There are only 30 brands in India that have over 1,000 crores of revenue. So imagine that you've got a 10 lakh crore combined market across these three segments.
Rajan, there's also digital innovation in the fintech healthcare sector in particular. There are massive investment opportunities here. Do you believe it's a lucrative space?
No, I mean, look, if you look at fintech, I think we've seen extraordinary innovation in India, right? I mean, an interesting thing that many of us forget is if you go back to 2016, India was not in the top 100 countries when it comes to digital payments. Okay, I'm talking about digital payments penetration, sophistication of digital payment networks and things like that. Today, we are 7 years later. We are by far the number one country when it comes to digital payments. There's no question about that. And that's thanks to UPI and all the innovation that has happened on top of UPI, right? As Peak 15 partners, look, we are incredibly proud of, we have a large portfolio of very, very successful, fintech companies, in payments, in wealth, in insurance, in lending. So, companies like Cred and Pine Labs and Razorpay, and many, many others, Go Digit, for instance, and so on. So we are very excited about fintech. Now, all the innovation that has happened is very exciting, but the reality is, look, we still have over $1 trillion of a credit gap on consumer and $1 trillion of a credit gap on businesses, right? SMBs. So the financial penetration of India is just about starting, right? You look at a very, very successful company like a Grow, right? It's already very profitable. It's growing very fast. But the reality is the percentage of Indians who actually invest in things like public equities, in mutual funds, etc., is still a very, very small percentage, right? So I think across every single sector, we talked about brands, now we've talked about financial services. The reality is, look, we're just getting started, right? This is the tip of the iceberg, right? We've got close to 20 or 25 fintech unicorns in India, right? And we are fortunate as Peak 15 partners to be early investors in a large number of them. But the reality is, we're just getting started, right? And it's just going to keep getting more and more interesting as we go on from here.
Quite interestingly, we had Sam Altman on the network, and he was talking about AI really killing jobs, saying that is what every tech revolution does. Is that a view that you would have? Does one really need to be worried?
No, so look, I think AI will make humans a lot more productive, right? So for instance, let's take code, right? So if you're a developer today, if you're leveraging the best tools that are out there, you can become 30, 40% more productive, right? And that, by the way, has huge implications on, for instance, IT services companies, right? We have a $200 billion export industry around IT services. We have 4 or 5 million developers who actually are working in these companies. Imagine if they can all become 30 or 40% more productive and what that could do, right? Similarly, there, in every space, right? Whether you look at copywriting, whether you look at marketing, whether you look at customer service, in every space, we will see AI making humans significantly more productive, right? Now, there will be some spaces where, AI will actually replace humans, especially if you're doing a very, very focused task and you're not sort of doing a lot more tasks. So in the near term, it is likely that, there will be an impact on roles and also some set of jobs. But what we've seen, right, if you look at sort of the evolution of mankind, you go through all through history, right? Every technology wave, the mega waves, right, will cause disruption for some period of time.
One can't deny that a lot of new age fintech companies that had a very dazzling debut really got a reality check after they listed in the public markets. What's been your take or some of the lessons you believe some of these companies need to learn when listing publicly?
I mean, first of all, the companies, that went public, right? Whether it's Paytm, whether it's Policy Bazaar, whether it's Nykaa, whether it's Zomato, these are all very, very good companies. They're tremendous brands. They've defined these categories so far. And I think it's very important to keep in mind that These companies have also been built for between 7 and, in the case of Paytm, a lot longer than that, right? What you're going to see over the next 5, 10, 15 years, these companies getting much, much larger and extremely profitable, right? And you can hold me to that. I think we should come back at the end of 2024 and look at the levels of profitability of these companies. Look, I think when it comes to Indian capital markets, the big learning is, unless you're profitable, you cannot go public in the Indian exchanges, right? And it's not just break even. I think if you're just breaking even, that's probably not the right time to think about going public on the Indian exchanges, right? I think some of the international exchanges are a lot more forgiving and, quite frankly, a lot more entertaining of technology startups that can, maybe not be profitable for some period of time, but have a path to profitability. But I think the big learning is for companies to go public, for Indian startups to go public on the Indian exchanges, you have to be profitable.
Okay, so that was the word coming in from Rajan Anandan, but let's talk about how you can unlock a golden opportunity, and that's by watching ET Now. On our 14th birthday, here's a gift for you as well. Participate in ET Now's Force of 14 contest and stand a chance to win 14 gold vouchers. On our 14th birthday, all you have to do is watch ET Now throughout the week. Give a missed call at the number flashing for you on the screen and grab the golden chance. Now, the second question of the day is, which Chief Investment Officer of large FII joined on ET Now today? The options are for you on the screen. Was it Rahul Chadda? Was it Adrian Lim? Was it Rajiv Jain of GQG Partners? Or perhaps Julian Simon of Goldman Sachs? Just give a missed call on the number flashing for you on the screen and give us your right answers.